Welcome to the Emo Social Club podcast, broadcasting to you live from emosocialclub.tv. I am Brian.
And I'm Lizzie, and we're here this evening with our friends from the Great North, aka Milwaukee Telethon. Thank you so much, guys, for chatting with us. I know that we've kind of been like mutually following each other on the internet for a few years now, I think.
I think so. You're welcome.
Let's have you all introduce yourselves and what you do in the band so everybody knows who you are.
I'm Eric, aka Drum. I'm the drummer.
Just one drum.
I'm Kevin, lead singer and rhythm guitarist.
And I'm Jack. I play the guitar.
Very nice. And we have you on to talk about your album as well. We should mention that's why we're.
And I should mention two other people in the band, but they're not here right now.
They can't make it.
Attend the interview.
Yeah, they don't get a shout out, or we get like a vague shout out, like "Hello, other two," and then we just.
Yeah, Gene Jacket is our key player. He's not here, and Alex Deep Sound Smiling is our bass player, and he's at work serving people filth on a plate.
Filth on a plate.
No, he's actually a server at a great restaurant. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't disparage the great restaurant he works at.
You didn't name drop the restaurant, so it's okay. You saved it.
True. Well, he works at.
There we go. I'll add the sound effect.
You even got a little effect board there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, let's talk about the record. It just came out on the 20th, called "Swim Out Past the Breakers," which is a great song. It's lyric. Fuck, why am I forgetting the name now?
From Everclear?
Everclear, there it is. We played it the other night, but yeah. Santa Monica. I'm assuming that was the inspiration for it.
Yeah. You're not the first person to clarify that, though. Someone, I forget who it was, texted me and was like, "Are you aware that's a Everclear lyric?" And it's like, no, I wasn't.
No one's ever done that before.
It would be an insane coincidence if we picked that string of words and it was like we didn't know it was in a song.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little reference to Everclear, band that we like.
I'd say we love them.
We love them, yes. And it's why don't you tell about why you selected that for the album title? He writes all the lyrics, so he's kind of the big. He has all the little intricacies in his brain.
Yeah, no, I mean it's no more difficult than just I heard that song and on the radio, and we were looking for an album title, and I was like, under these circumstances, this is like the best song ever. I was like in my girlfriend's old Toyota RAV4 driving down to Chicago actually to pick up a piece of furniture. And I was like driving down the highway, listening to this song. I was like, perfect. And this line is cool. And that should be the name of our album. Now it's the name of our album.
Yeah, it was just kind of a sign. And also, Everclear is a band that is really not considered to be cool at all, but we think they're really cool. So it's kind of a little tip of the hat to liking things that are kind of uncool or not thought of as traditionally like super hip necessarily. So that was another reason why I think it makes a cool title.
Because we ourselves are not cool.
We're very uncool, in fact.
I never thought that Everclear was uncool. I just thought it was just not super well known. Like it was in the same vein as Eve 6 before their singer was
and now look at
internet.
Eve 6.
Yeah, now looking at Eve 6, they're playing fest. They're on the rise.
Yeah, Eve 6 is very online.
Yeah. Everclear is I don't know, maybe recently they've been more kind of thought of as a respected band, but there's definitely been people who have kind of I've heard people kind of talk vague shit about Everclear.
Yeah.
They're so fucking good.
All those bands from the 90s, people love to talk vague shit on.
When most of them were extremely good, songwriters and those songs were huge hits for a reason,
Exactly.
And that it's kind of starting to turn where people are starting to think it's cool again. So that's good.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's
good for us.
Eve 6 definitely helped usher in that era, I think.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's very I mean, obviously everything right now with 90s kind of coming back in fashion and music and style and all that. I think a lot of people are revisiting a lot of those things, especially with Limp Bizkit headlining and doing all that.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit's Resurgence and like some interest in these bands and artists that people just never really gravitated to. I also wonder if it's a little bit of just like, you know, we don't necessarily have a lot of these like kind of unfounded artists like taking a lot of like the headlining spots. Like, yeah, the Foo Fighters are a 90s band, but they're on literally every festival, right? Like you can see Foo Fighters all the time, but like if Everclear is coming out, it's like, oh, you know what? I never caught Everclear. I should go and like check out that set. And then you all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, they're really good. I'm going to listen to their records, and they get a little bit of that.
They are really good.
Yeah. It's interesting also how the Limp Bizkit thing, like if maybe like 2 years ago you talked about like genuinely liking Limp Bizkit, people would like crucify you. But now it is cool to like Limp Bizkit again. It's just interesting how the cyclical nature of liking things happens. Like that band was considered to be like the worst band ever for a long time by many people. And I think I always have kind of like thought Limp Bizkit is good at what they do. But like people now are like, oh, they're cool. And it's just interesting how it came back around in that way. Like people for sure like would say that they're like the worst band ever and that Fred Durst should kill himself and stuff like that. I remember reading shit like that on the internet, and now they're kind of cool again. Yeah. It's interesting how that happened.
It's almost like people shouldn't shit on things.
That's my point. Yeah,
like just wild. It's such a wild concept for so many people.
You know, it's like everybody's just they're all just people, and they're trying their best to make stuff. And as long as they're not being overtly terrible, you know, like just let them exist. Don't shit on people for liking things, even like if they're juggalos who love ICP. You know, like just let them do it. And then we won't have to have these conversations that end up like soon. I'm just predicting this. There's going to be like a piece of writing that's like Limp Bizkit actually is bad. And
then it'll be bad. Then it'll be cool
like,
to hate them again.
Yeah.
It's like you can see it all laid out before you.
It just kind of makes me, I think it makes all of us in Telethon a little bit annoyed and sick when that happens. But I'm happy that Limp Bizkit and I like anytime a band that is good or good at what they do that used to be uncool is like becomes cool again. Like Brendan Fraser is another example on the other world.
Most of that stuff also is on a base level very sincere. Like bands like that and people like that are like very like cool and like unapologetically the way that they are, and instead of being like too cool for you. And that's why people are like they like them and then they suck, and then oh wait, it's this post-ironic like I'm liking them again thing. It's just but it's all like Limp Bizkit is sincere, and so is like Everclear and Eve 6 and Brendan Fraser. Like all those things are like originally very like straightforward, like uncool sort of like there's no like layers of irony to it at the base, and then now it's like this weird post-ironic appreciation of it. Did that? I don't know if that made any sense, but it does in my own head.
It sounded like the weirdest tour lineup I've ever heard.
It's kind of like the wholesome culture. Like you don't want to acknowledge that you're into it, but then when you're like, oh, it's kind of cool and socially acceptable in a way to appreciate it, and it comes in, you're like, yeah, I'm definitely down with it because they're not problematic or like starting any drama, which is usually what fuels the. Yeah. Oh God.
we've all kind of been liking that stuff. Not like I feel like we are kind of among them in terms of the fact that we just kind of are. We do what we do, and I think it kind of almost turns people off because it's too like bright or sunny or energetic or happy.
Yeah.
But I think people like we knew that people that didn't like stuff like that wouldn't like us anyway. So. Yeah.
What were you saying, Eric?
I was going to say, did people hate Brendan Fraser?
Yeah, people
were just kind of off the grid for a bit. Like he wasn't getting a lot of work, and I feel like a lot of people now are like, and I mean, he's making a movie with Martin Scorsese. He's kind of on the up and up. I like it.
Yeah.
A lot of that hate came just from a lot of just like body shaming and then being like, "Why did
you?" For real.
Definitely.
Bad. And that was like the only reason why people had. And I'm like, people get older, and also people step out of the spotlight. It's just very normal.
So he actually didn't step out of the spotlight. He tried to point out that there was a lot of sexual harassment happening in Hollywood, and everybody blacklisted him.
Yeah. Wow.
which sucks.
He went through a lot. Like I'm really happy that the Frasier Renaissance is
The
happening.
Frasiersance.
The Frasier.
We just
Oh my God.
watched No Sudden Move, which he's in, new movie.
I haven't
and he's
seen that.
super great in it.
Yeah,
he's like
it's really good.
he's like kind of the one that sets up the whole heist, sort of. And he's like totally charismatic and great. He's still got it.
Yeah, go watch him back in like the early days too. Like he was funny. He would like the Mummy.
Mummy's so good.
Yeah.
Also, Monkey
really
Bone.
good.
He's fucking
Yeah.
great in that.
Airheads.
Oh yeah.
George of the Jungle.
Yeah, all great performances. Very funny.
I think I'm
Also,
gonna change
like,
it from
so-
Frasiersance to the Golden Frasier. I think I'm gonna call it.
I was
that.
going to say the Renaissance.
Renaissance.
Yeah, it does make a lot more sense.
Renaissance.
Yeah, I
Golden
think
Age of
that's
Frasier.
there, that's
Oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah, there we go.
Golden Age of Frasier.
Yeah, I like that.
This is the meme.
It's the next T-shirt, guys. It's the next T-shirt.
We should make a shirt that we should somehow like get in contact with Brendan Fraser and just see if he wants to collab. We tried to get a cameo from him, but he doesn't do cameo because he's above that, and I get that.
Wow.
I get that.
I
I understand that. He's making cool shit right now.
We ended up getting a cameo from Mick Foley, aka Mankind, aka
Yeah.
Cactus Jack, instead, aka Dude Love,
He was,
aka Dude Love.
he was the second most. He was our second choice
Second pick.
behind Brendan Fraser.
What was the cameo for? Like, was it for the record or was it just for like?
Yeah, it was for our listening party.
Okay.
And actually, I should say, we also were thinking about getting John Lovitz because he's on Cameo, but he had a long turnaround time.
He's got a lot to do, I guess.
Wow.
Mick Foley was like,
Yeah,
I
he
would've-
did it like right away. He
Mick
was, like,
Foley
right on
was-
top of that
Mick
shit.
Foley, and he gave it his all. It was like to introduce the record to Telethon fans at our little digital listening party we did actually 1 week ago today. Yeah,
And he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Lovitz would have just been like, "Here's the new record.
Yeah.
It stinks."
That wasn't
So
a bad
really,
impression.
you won.
Pretty good.
really
That would have been really good.
It comes out to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's do you think a lot of people are doing like I've seen a lot of cameos, but it's mostly just like kind of a goofy thing, so I kind of get why, Brendan Fraser doesn't want to debase
Do that
himself,
still.
lower himself.
Yeah.
But there's some pretty surprisingly big celebrities on there.
Mhm.
But yeah, most of them kind of have some layer of cheese to them.
Mhm.
But I think it's an inherently kind of cool concept that it exists. Like that you can like.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, you can just
it's
purchase a
super cool.
video from some celebrity from many different like. There's like so many different categories. There's like a whole like punk and emo section.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there's also like porn stars and whatnot, and you can and it's just-
Athletes.
yeah, it's just an insane. It's kind of a crazy thing. I know there was this band called the fuck were they called? Strange Magic that used Cameo to get little sound bites of Gilbert Gottfried that they like put on their record like
Wow.
throughout the album.
That's pretty good.
He like had him read all this stuff that was like referencing the lyrics and the songs and stuff. It's pretty fucking good. I don't know if like there's like think you're not supposed to do that. Like I don't think they're supposed to put clips from the Cameo on like a record that they're selling. But
Yeah.
it's kind of punk that they did it. Like I applaud their innovation.
Punking Gilbert
Yeah.
Gottfried.
Yeah, he doesn't know that he's on the record. I'm sure.
I mean, like if he caught wind of it, one, it's great PR for that band, but two, it's like how douchey would you look if you said, "Hey kids, I know like you
gotta
paid
do the
for it and
impression, Lizzie."
everything. I cannot do impressions. I did not go to theater school.
I
Yeah.
can't believe you put him on the record. We told you I can't do an impression either, but I'm trying.
It's pretty good.
You're trying. I'm
Is
sorry.
that-
I am not the little bird from Cyber Chase. I cannot do any.
Aladdin,
Yeah, is
Lizzie.
that Jafar's parrot,
Yeah.
Iago?
Iago.
Well, there's Yago. There's also Cyber Chase.
You played two
from PBS
birds?
Kids.
I don't know what that is.
Is he in is that the Scooby Doo movie?
No, it was on PBS Kids. It was
There
like
was a movie called Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase. If I'm
yes,
not.
I remember that. Yeah,
Yes.
because they were like in the digital game in like Carnival Land.
Gilbert Gottfried not involved with that. With
Not
that.
involved.
He was not involved in that one.
Last I'll say about Gilbert. I'm sure you have things you want to talk to us about. I'm sorry.
I was like, all right, Gilbert
We have to talk
Gottfried,
about Gilbert
check. So
Gottfried
we've
now.
marked that one off
Yeah,
the
no,
list.
but last thing I'll say about Gilbert Gottfried, there is a documentary. I don't know if either of you have seen it called Gilbert. All about Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but
I have not seen that.
yeah.
The voice is an act, which obviously we assumed, I guess, but he talks like in his normal voice
In
the
it.
whole documentary.
That's fucking crazy.
That is insane.
It's weird.
It's definitely an odd.
That's weird.
It's kind of similar. It's just not like he doesn't sound like a cartoon parrot.
And he's not like, like
yeah.
it's like so,
hi, I'm Gilbert Godfrey. That's actually a good impression of what it sounds like.
What's the
Alright.
point? Like, I guess, like, if
'Cause
you're,
he's a real man.
I know,
He's a real
Yeah.
man who has real needs and wants.
He's like, I am separate from this. He was on like Celebrity Wife Swap, I remember, and he
I
was
was
like,
gonna just say that.
he was like on like it was kind of like he was like very like restrictive. He's like, okay, you can't buy this. It's kind of frivolous. And I remember like whoever his wife swap wife was like so done with his shit. They're like, you need to buy all this stuff, and he's like, okay, but like why?
It was
fair question.
he did talk in the voice on the episode.
Of course.
So, he was fully in character as Gilbert
Yeah.
Godfrey during that.
I think he's-
Celebrity Wife Swap, man. that
What
shit.
channel was it on? VH1?
ABC.
The,
Oh, that was
the original Wife Swap non-celebrity version had some pretty good shit on it. Of course, it was all very clearly like planned and scripted. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way.
probably quite problematic.
Yes, but it was an entertaining show. I'll give you that
Yeah.
much.
yeah.
My family and I got recruited to be on Wife Swap when I was younger because we were at a
No.
Radio Disney event and we filled it out at Kittyland. If anybody in Chicago area remembers Kittyland, we filled it out. They contacted us and we decided not to do it because we were like,
Good.
no, we're actually not doing it.
Man, that would have been an
The
interesting story.
opportunity was there.
But man, that's like, imagine being able to go back and watch an episode of Wife Swap that you were on.
Yeah.
Like, that's a crazy thing as a child.
Yeah.
That is wild. People you probably passed by somebody who was on a mid 2000s reality show every day of your life.
Yeah,
Like, there
I've
were so
had
many.
similar thoughts to that before.
Yeah.
You can find most
Like-
of them on Cameo, probably.
Oh my God.
Yeah, probably more than you'd even think.
They were like, I was this moderately popular like reality TV show in True Life, guys. Listen, I know you want
God,
it.
yeah.
That
Everybody
show
from
was
True Life.
It's interesting. If you scroll through Cameo, which I did recently, there's people on there where you're like, who the fuck is this? Nobody knows who this is. And then you go look, and so many people have bought cameos for them. Like, I have a person that I truly have no clue who they are. but like they have a little like niche that they have people that know who they are and are into it. You know?
That's interesting.
I got Eric. We got Eric a
Yeah.
cameo from who? Eric? Who?
They got me a cameo for my birthday from Santa.
Wow, that's
It cost
crazy.
It cost $0.
Yeah, it was free.
Oh,
It's a free
so they
cameo.
know. I love it.
It was a very interesting morning.
It was mildly disturbing.
Yeah, it was. I was like in the thing before. I was like, it's gonna be Eric's birthday, and there's nobody that Eric loves more than you, Santa. And so it was like this. It was Santa. It was slightly thinner and a little bit more
He was a good Santa.
domestic than I assumed.
Was it off-season Santa or was this during the holidays? Or
Was it? Oh yeah, it was off season. His
off-season.
birthday's in
Okay.
April.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. You got off-season discount Santa. Maybe that's
Yeah, he was like,
looks good.
he was like, Eric, I know how much you love me.
And then for the next 2 hours, the only word I could utter was Santa.
Yeah, we kind of forced him into a sort of a fugue state.
Yeah, Eric was found in a nearby sleigh at 3 a.m. by the local authorities.
Oh my God.
Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen.
But he did say Santa a lot after that.
It was pandemic birthday, so
Yeah.
it was a nice surprise.
Mhm.
Yes, that was an interesting time. Seems like 1,000 years ago.
Mhm.
Interesting time for Telethon, that's for sure.
Yep.
Well, we can move back to music stuff now.
Yeah.
We'll go back to this.
Yeah,
You
we-
said we could go off.
Should we
Um,
should we say anything else about the record? About the? I mean, obviously it's been out for about a week now. How's the reception been? What is your like influences on it? All that kind of stuff.
Just all of the above there.
Just throw it all
Yeah.
out there. Yeah. Just talk about the record a
Yeah,
little
I
bit.
mean, the record has been out for a week, as you said. It seems like people really like it. I think the people that love Telethon and know Telethon, I think it's the most Telethon-y thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
a good way of
it
putting it.
really, yeah. And so if you really like Telethon, you'll really like this. And also, I think that there's something in it for people that don't like Telethon or don't know they don't know Telethon. and it seems like a lot of people are like discovering us through it, and that's obviously great. We have we have a million influences, and so sorry, our keyboardist Gene Jacket just showed up.
Oh,
Hi,
Gene
Gene.
Jacket.
Throw him in.
He's gonna come here,
Yeah.
but
He's gonna come.
he's gonna come.
No, he's gonna come over here.
Come over
Wow,
to
I
the.
feel like that's a really expensive cameo, guys. Come on, don't give that for free.
But yeah, and I was gonna say it's kind of one, like a lot of bands are like have the album where they kind of try a lot of stuff, a lot of sort of it kind of goes in a lot of directions and a lot of like little kind of short songs and stuff. And this was kind of our attempt to make kind of that sort of record, which is, and like, so there's a little bit more like, it's a little bit more diverse musically speaking than maybe stuff before. I mean, we always are a little bit diverse, but this one we kind of were like, let's try some.
Well, we made it ourselves like a little over a year ago. We started making it in our home studio, so we didn't like have any studio time booked. So we weren't paying. This guy was engineering it. This man right here,
And our bass player.
Who's the only one not here, and so I feel like it's looser, and we were able to experiment more, like Jack was saying.
Yeah, and
with the sounds on it.
Yeah, which is cool, and it ended up making the album be more kind of have more sort of rises and falls,
Ebbs and flows,
which I think is kind of cool.
You did have a lot of collaborators. Like you had, we also had interviewed Oceanator, Elise, and we also saw that you collaborated with Chris Farron, Hold Steady, and a bunch of other people. So how kind of was that to incorporate? Because listening to this album and listening to your past albums as well, it gives me big like multi-genre The Killers vibe. Like
hey,
I can tell. I'll take that.
Yeah.
you
sure.
cover a lot of ground, and you can kind of please a little bit of everybody, no matter what their music taste. I feel.
That's cool. Yeah,
thank you. That's
thank
what
you.
I mean, we like a lot of different stuff, and I feel like that's just kind of what ends up coming out of us. Like,
and we all
lots
like
of genres
individually among us each have our own like musical stuff that we are well versed in.
Yeah.
And then we also have a lot of common stuff that we like together, like all of us.
Yeah.
And
true.
And then with like the collaborations, it's just one of those things where it's so cool to get somebody who you have in your brain for a certain part that like you may know or maybe you don't know to do it, and that it just can make it sound more like a collaboration. Yeah, a collaboration.
It's like a
just
collage of
like,
sounds.
I was gonna say like a carnival. Like there's like there's a lot of people. Yeah, there's like a lot of different contributions, which can like elevate the songs in many ways.
And the collaborations are just like, I mean, it's just people that we like, or some of them are friends that we like. Some of them are people we've never met that we like. It's a mix of those. Some of them are people we've collaborated with in the past, and it's just a matter of like, I mean, when you go to a concert, you want to go to a concert where you're seeing a diverse range of artists, all of whom are good. You want to be introduced to great artists. You want to see artists that you like, that are, making good music. And so that's kind of our thought process behind asking people to sing, the bridge on a song or whatever. It's like there's no way that you add it unless you just like unless you like phone it in completely. Like there's no way that you being on this track is gonna not make it way better.
Yeah.
Because I get tired of hearing my own voice throughout. Like if I sang every single word on the record, I don't think I'd want to listen to that record. So yeah,
at least not as much.
And we got like I'm super, super happy with how everything turned out. Like, I'm just so great. I think we're all so grateful that those people were able to do it, and like that they were willing to. I mean, it's always weird sending lyrics to people and being like, "Hey, you can sing this." I mean, I always send them like the version where I'm singing the part that they sing, so I have to explain like, "Hey, I'm singing this in the way that I hear it in my head, but if you hear the instrumentation of it and you want to sing it in a different way, or if you think change a lyric if you want." Nobody ever changes the lyrics, but I always give them the option.
Yeah.
And so it's just so amazing when that WAV file comes back in our inbox and like this thing that was ours is now theirs in like a really I don't know, deeply creative, collaborative way. It's just so fucking cool to hear, for instance, like Gary Louris of the Jayhawks singing this chorus of this song that we made, or Chris Farron sing the intro, or like you said, Elise from Oceanator singing that bridge of that song on there. Like those are just some examples, but yeah, it's like I hope we always can collaborate. Like look at hip hop albums. Every single song has a featured artist. Yeah, almost it's so rare. Like that's why hip hop albums are often so fun to listen to, because you're like, oh, this one has, I don't know, this person on it.
I mean, we got stoked when Willow put out just the names of the people that were featured on her new record. Yeah. The Bring Me the Horizon record had a bunch of features. It's like people are so stoked on it.
One of the masters of collaboration is Every Time I Die.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Like, every record has amazingly cool, like interestingly chosen guest vocalists. Mm-hmm. Like some from hardcore, and then some like they got the guy from the Gaslight Anthem on one of their records, mm-hmm. and then like stuff where you're not necessarily expecting that person to be on there.
Yeah, I think the Say Anything in Defense of the Genre
that too,
album was a big one.
Almost every song on that has some sort of cool guest vocal. Like I think there's like a lot of fucking songs on that record, 27 songs. But like it's like a total like who's who of that sort of like
era,
early 2000s Warped Tour era,
and it makes it more fun to listen to. Mm-hmm. Like I think records like that are just so much more fun to listen to.
Well, I mean, you had Jahara and also Future Teens, two bands that I really enjoy, and I was like, oh my gosh, like these slap. And also you kind of are like elevating a lot of these other bands who are also in the same like subculture, like underground area that are
I hope that we can I hope we can do that. Like if there's bands that people haven't heard of or whatever, I mean, not because they don't deserve to be heard, you know, it's just maybe some people that listen to Telethon don't listen to, say, Jiraiya or Future Teens. Like I hope that it aids in discovering their music too. And so like when you go on Spotify, like it's linked, like on Future Teens profile, it will say they were on the Telethon record, and on our profile page, when you look at the song, it will link to Future Teens. So it's like simpatico. I hope it helps us and them in a way. That's not the point. Like it's not really like, I always sometimes like publications or whatever, like if they're writing about us, they'll be like, look at how many collaborators I got. And it's like, it's not about like collecting them or like using them for clout. It's or anything. It's just a matter of like, these are people that we believe in and love. And it's just cool to get them on our record as like a snapshot of the time that we made it and just who we appreciate the art of.
Yeah. And it also just like, makes the songs cooler.
Yeah, it makes the songs
like
cooler.
That's like the main thing is just like a lot of times we are like, wouldn't it be cool if this person sang this line? And then that's like once we end up getting it, it feels like that's like the way it was meant to be.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And we should also say your sister Mary is all over the record too. So that's like someone that was actually able to come into the studio. His sister Mary Sibilski, who has an amazing voice, she's singing all over the thing. So it's like not just, I don't know, other musicians necessarily. I mean, she does music, but she doesn't.
But also, like this is more of a person that we were able to bring in, and like Amy, our friend Amy, who is in our little hardcore side project called Intolerable Swill, but she's just a friend that we had come in and do some little screaming and stuff on a song. Mm-hmm. That was the one we got to do in person as well.
Mm-hmm.
Lizzie, do you have a question? Sorry.
Wow, I was about to say.
I think it's just a delay.
Let's talk about, you have a little hardcore project. I know we're here to talk about Telethon and your LP, but now I'm interested about this hardcore project you have.
Yeah. Me and Eric, and then our bass player Alex, and our friend Amy, we made a little hardcore EP, band called Intolerable Swill, and we made it like, what was it? It was like,
I think it was 2019.
Was it pre-pandemic? Yeah. We made it like we recorded it all, and then we mixed it and then released it during the pandemic. We've never played a live show or anything.
We released it like right away. It was like March of 2020.
Yeah.
So it was like right when everything was going down.
And it turned out really cool. I hope that we get to do more stuff with it at some point. And also play a show.
Yeah.
Which we've never done in that band.
We were planning on doing.
Yeah, we were going to do like a release show, but then that obviously didn't end up happening.
For some reason, I was extremely mad when recording the drums, and I can't really remember why, but I think that it helped. I think it helped the record.
Yeah, I think you can hear the rage in his drums.
I feel like it goes hand in hand with the genre a little bit. You know?
And it was just fun to do because Telethon is incredibly based in melody, and this was more like because hardcore is more about riffs and more about like parts and
Amy's lyrics are really cool.
Yeah, Amy's lyrics are cool, and she
brought her own lyrics. So you didn't write any of those lyrics, right?
No, she wrote all the lyrics, and she also like has many different modes that her voice can be in. Like she can scream, and she can also do kind of a yell, sort of ride girl yell thing. And then she also is really good at like singing. So there's sort of like melodic parts on the album too. But it's just a little 5-song. It's like a 7-inch, even though we never. It's like that's what I think of it as, like a digital 7-inch. But me and Alex both have a lot of ideas for more songs, so hopefully we will get to make more songs in that band at some point.
Intolerable Swill 2.
Yes, I feel like they all have to be self-titled.
Intolerable or
Intolerable Swill.
Yeah, yeah. I said it at one point.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That was made at Still Wave Studios too, which is our studio here in Milwaukee, and it's just been kind of fun to finally like have our own space where we can like focus on making records, and also it's not like we're crunched for time or anything.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about like getting done at a certain time.
Yeah, and speaking objectively, because I have no knowledge about how any of that stuff works, I would say Eric and Alex like know what they're doing. So let that be a plug for anybody who's around Milwaukee. Like you have to pay them, and you will have to pay them for time. It won't be done free, but like if you like the way that our newest album sounds, like that was engineered and tracked in-house at Still Wave Studios, and then mixed and mastered by our friend Jack Shirley in Oakland. But like they know how to mix and master too. But we should make.
I like him, but it's okay.
Not quite as good.
But yeah, come make records, and then maybe one of us will drop by, and then you can get us for a real life cameo.
That's a collab.
We'll collab.
You're gonna pull the old Travis Barker. He's gonna go and be like, "Hey, you recording? Can I drop in?"
Let me drop a track on this one.
The difference is that people would want Travis Barker on their album. If I dropped into the studio, people would be like, "Who's this strange man? Is he supposed to be here? Do we need to get him escorted off?"
We need to call the authorities.
Yeah.
It does feel like obviously, like a lot of people when they got a MacBook, right? They're like, I have GarageBand, I can record my band, I can do all this shit. I have like music is just so much more at my fingertips. But like I've found that really the benefit of having a studio, especially when it's like nearby everybody, is like, hey, we have a practice space, we have a recording space. If it's like in your house, which I've been to some places where they literally just have a room in their house that's their studio. It's like now it's literally where you live. Like music can be your life. And so there's like really no excuse. And I'm like, do we have to build like all this stuff in everybody's home who's a musician just to get everybody in the same place at the same time? That's a personal problem.
If you want to do it for free with unlimited time, then the answer is kind of yes. But there's plenty. I mean, look at like our buddy Chris, who's in Barely the group Barely March. It's kind of his project. I don't know if you know Barely March, but he made one of the greatest albums I've ever heard, like on his mom's laptop. So, with like literally the video game Rock Band, like he used the drums from that video game. Yeah,
it sounds amazing. Yeah, it's like that's like the magic of the internet, and then like having like a laptop and shit is if you fuck with it enough, you can make some cool sounds with it. I mean, a good example is early music industry records too, which is just him on a laptop, Jeff Rosenstein, and it sounds like super fucked up, but also really cool, and like in a way where you could not make this in a traditional studio. You could have only made this on a laptop by yourself, and it sounds kind of like insanity, but in a really awesome way.
Sort of like the scene of like bedroom pop, bedroom acoustic, bedroom rock, whatever that is, but like how that is like so a specific time from MySpace and GarageBand, and like all these songs were put on there that it's like, wow, that's nostalgic. it's not good, but it is nostalgic.
Yeah, some of it's good.
Some of it's good.
Yeah.
Some of it's good. I mean, that's like the Ready Set and other bands like that, like that started out with synths and all those sorts of things, and then we're doing it better than everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. What was I just going to say about that? Like a lot of the people who kind of tried and failed to make bedroom pop on MySpace ended up making amazing records later. It's like that's like a necessary learning curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, our studio also just started on my laptop too.
Mm-hmm.
Really, when we started a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we made our EP Modern Abrasive a couple years ago, like literally where we're sitting right now.
Yeah,
with the drums like 2 feet away from us, and that's just how we made it. And it sounds good. It doesn't sound as good as the thing we made in the studios, but it sounds good and people like it. And you can hear the ideas. You can hear the songs and they sound like songs. So
yeah. I do think that like the quality is objective, but the songwriting has to be there. And if you're working on that part of it, like everything can sound kind of shitty. And then it's like, yeah, this is exactly like the kind of bands that I like back in the day. And like, no one was really writing music that was going to be popular. That was also like going to sound good.
So the songwriting is key.
Yeah.
Some like records that are some of my favorites ever are like technically recording quality wise bad.
Mm.
But then some of the shit that I've heard, like where I've been like, this is the worst song I've ever heard, have had immaculate production. Like it's all about just, is the song good? Like that's the main thing. Like sometimes you hear these like, especially like when like early mid 2000 like Warped Tour metalcore bands where it's like everything is like quantized to the like moment, and like all of the like everything sounds like technically flawless, but then it's like I'm never gonna remember what the fuck the song set like is. Like I'm never gonna listen to it again. But like it's really well recorded. And then you listen to like some shit like that, like like I was just saying, like early Bound the Music Industry or Jeff Rosenstock stuff, where it sounds like totally fucked up. But it's so ambitious and cool that you are like you listen to it a million times, even though it's like totally like technically like not necessarily good sounding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So songs are cool.
Songs are good.
Songs are good.
All you hear is write a good song. Don't pay $1 trillion to have it be like like that's like yeah.
Pour your guts into it, and it will probably come out sounding like something at least.
Yeah, something cool.
I'm always just like, does this sound interesting?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Would you? I don't know your background in recording, but did you guys go to school or anything for it, or is it just kind of like a hobby that
Self-taught.
got you there?
Eric did. I did.
Okay.
Not music or recording school, but it was like electronic media focused on recording.
Okay.
Cool,
Yeah.
There we go.
And there was a studio at his college
yeah.
that we used a ton to record, including some of the very earliest Telethon stuff that back when we had a different name.
Yeah, actually, before I really knew what I was doing, I offered to make the first Telethon record, which we were called Fitness at the time, and that was in the basement of the library at UW Whitewater, which is
I listened to Fitness. Okay, so that was you.
Wait, no. You're thinking of the wrong Fitness. You're from Chicago, right?
Yeah.
So there was another band that we learned from Chicago called Fitness.
God damn it!
And
Always.
That's the main reason we changed our name.
So maybe you listen to us, but I'm assuming you listen to the other Fitness, which is why
they also. I work with a guy who was in that band, and we had no clue until he was like, "Wait, you're in the other Fitness," and then I was like, "Oh, yeah." So and then it came full circle in that with me. So
yeah, I'm glad we changed our name.
They also like dual guitar licks. And,
yeah, I know. It was like
and riff rock. So it's like it was like
it was same space,
close.
same name, and then it was like we read like this is like Titus Andronicus style, like pop rock or like classic rock infused punk that has twin guitar leads. I was like, no, we have to change it now.
It's always been Telethon.
Yeah. Telethon is really like the only. We changed it before anybody knew who we were. So besides our mommies and daddies.
Yeah. So we it worked out. I think Telethon is a better fit for like what our band sounds like as well.
Yeah.
Like I think it's it makes more sense somehow to me.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to ask about some of your lyrics. So in the press release that we got from No Earbuds, it kind of like explains a lot of Kevin's like impulsiveness to move straight to the suburbs and kind of like growing up and going through like fundamental changes, which I feel a lot of us have dealt with over the last like year and a half in general, whether we wanted to or not. So how was kind of like formatting that into the songs from what you were doing in your everyday life?
Oh, that's just how I've been writing. Yeah, that's how I've been writing songs. Like, that's how I write songs. It's like anything that happens to me in a day could end up in a telethon song. Or it could spur an idea or a train of thought that ends up turning into a telethon song. So yeah, I guess I've been describing this new record as almost like if you put kind of significant / mundane moments, like kind of a mix of them from like my mid to late 20s, because I just turned 30. If you took kind of the last 5 to 7 years of my life and put some of the moments on shuffle and then probably fictionalize some of the stories, like that would be the lyrics of, that would be what this album is about. It's kind of, this is probably the most, I don't know, autobiographical record I've ever done. Or I shouldn't say I've ever done, we've ever done, but like that I have ever written the lyrics to. Yeah, it's like any, I could go to Target and have a bad time or a good time. I could meet somebody in Target that was like weird or nice to me and I didn't expect them to be, or that was a total asshole to me. And that shit will just end up like, I kind of put it in my mental bank of things to put into telethon songs. So, and I never know what the songs are going to be about until I start writing them. Like it will start from a sentence and then usually within about 1 to 3 hours, the song will be pretty much hashed out. Thanks to just, stream of consciousness thought and not worrying about it too much and just assuming that, if something really sucks, I can change the lyrics later. But usually like those first, like just flurries of lyric writing end up being what the song, like 95% of the songs end up being. And I will also say to any people who do songwriting themselves, never hesitate to use rhymezone.com, the rhyming dictionary website. Because, and I'm not saying you need to be like, I saw a flower and it gave me power and now my mood has gone sour. Like, I'm not saying that, but sometimes just reading a list of rhymes or near rhymes can like completely spur you to write a sentence that you would have never thought of before. So like you'll think of just seeing a list of words that kind of would rhyme or sound good paired with whatever you last wrote. Sometimes doing that will just inspire you you'll be like, oh, that kind of sounds like this. And then you can, it's like, some people are like kind of shit on themselves for using like rhyming dictionaries. But like, if there was no rhyming dictionary and no thesaurus, like telling me synonyms of words, like there would be synonyms and antonyms. There would be no telethon.
Yeah.
It's like my crutch and it keeps the momentum going. And that's key, is just like think of what sounds would sound good in the song and then find words that rhyme with those sounds.
That kind of reminds me of like, I took a poetry class in undergrad and I forgot what this was because I took this when I was a freshman, and it was like every other line rhymes, but everything else in between was something to wrap up whatever you said prior. And that's kind of what it sounds like to me. That was like a very basic poetry theory. And then there's a bunch of other ways to write poetry outside of that. But that's kind of like what it reminds me of, is like, hey, you want to have some rhymes, but you don't want to be like, that rhymey-dimey type of thing.
Right. Yeah, Kevin's lyrics have a very sort of like conversational vibe to them at times, where it doesn't, you don't notice the rhymes and the structure, but they are there if you go through and you like actually like piece it apart. But it seems like it's not, it isn't like they're never simple. Like it always like the rhymes and everything like that are never go quite the way you expect, which is part.
I was ruined by an episode of Degrassi: The Next Generation when I was in middle school. Do you remember that show?
Oh, I love Degrassi. My mom
never
used to
watched
watch the OG one when she was younger, so I watched the next gen.
Yeah, great show. Shouts to Jake Goldsby, who was on that show and is a telethon and good music fan. Just seems like a cool dude. Toby on Degrassi. We'll have to I was like so stoked. Like that's the only that was bigger than like if it was like Obama added you to his playlist. I'm more stoked that Toby from Degrassi was but anyway, the reason why I bring up Degrassi is because at one point on one episode, like Ashley, I think, who is the goth girl,
yes,
reads a poem she wrote.
Ashley or Ellie? Ellie was like the goth. Ashley was like kind of like in between.
The in between, the one who kind of pivoted from being like a jock to a goth, and then kind of just ended up like one of us, just a kind of normal person. She reads a poem. I believe I'm recounting this correctly, but she reads a poem, and then someone gives her the criticism that was like, nice try, but it was way too rhyming dictionary for my taste. And I was like, I never want to have that effect. But that doesn't mean to shy away from the rhyming dictionary altogether. It's just like the first example of rhymey-dimey shit. Like, don't do that. Don't be like flower, power, sour, dour.
Do you have to credit the website in your liner notes for your lyrics if you use it?
I think we have. I think it's not the first thing to get thanked, but we've thanked. There's two things that Telethon wouldn't exist without, and one of them is Rhyme Zone, and the other one is the Vocal Ease iPhone app, which is a vocal warm-up app. Arnold McCullers Vocal Ease app. It's just Vocal EASE. It's just one word, Vocal Ease, and it's like a 20-minute vocal warm-up that if I didn't do it before every show and before recording and before every practice, like in my car, there would just simply be no way for me to sing at all. So
I'm gonna need to download that app because I am hoarse after practice every time.
Yeah, no.
It's also good because I worked customer service at my last job and I was on phones for hours, and I would use it before work and after work. If I was doing like 5 hours of phones, my voice would be dead by the end of the day. But if I did Vocal Ease before work and then got done with all those phone calls, I would still be able to like talk full volume.
It's really key. Yeah. It's four warm-ups and a cool down. And it's like they take 4 minutes a piece. You could do them. You don't have to do them all in one fell swoop, but that's what I do, like in my car before the show or whatever. But yeah, so we have credited those in the liner notes, and I believe Rhyme Zone has gotten a shout out before too.
You're like, yo, what up, Rhyme Zone? Like as like a tag in your song.
Shout out all my Rhyme Zone poets.
And then they're gonna be like, wait, is that like a really cool rapper? And then they're like looking up Rhyme Zone, and they're like, wait,
and they're like, I'm not seeing the rapper, you guys.
Yeah, nobody is a SoundCloud.
Nobody is gonna read the name Rhyme Zone and think cool rapper.
It's like a shitty late 80s like knockoff rapper.
Oh god.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a kind of Sugar Hill Gang. Rapper's Delight style.
What's the name of the like catchphrase guy in the show Community?
Magnitude.
Oh yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm
Pop or whatever.
Yeah, the one that just
maybe I'm just thinking about the name Magnitude.
Yeah,
nobody. It wasn't as good of a reference. Yeah, pop.
The episode when they introduce him, there's like a party at Jeff's house, and he like doesn't want anybody there, but then he's like hanging out with everybody, getting to know everyone, and then he like finally kicks them all out, and he's naming them all off, and all of them have names like that. So it could be that somebody was Rhyme Zone in there.
Yeah,
like all these like.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I want to hear a fun fact.
Magnitude is played by Lee Jordan from the Harry Potter movies. So
I did not know that, but that makes sense.
Quidditch announcer. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Very
interesting. Yeah. How do you see it?
Interesting fun fact.
And then he became the pop. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like a musical catchphrase.
I want to make sure we toss out some of the plugs for your shows. I know one of them is tomorrow, so this will not help when this episode comes out on Monday. But
it will not help anybody.
we will not be able to help anybody come to the show. If you're on Twitch right now, you could go to the show.
Well, they can't. It's sold out.
They cannot go to the show. So
there.
you know what? You fucked up.
Yeah, but I think for everyone who did show up, who's listening to this,
Yeah.
I hope you had a good time, everybody.
Hope you had a great time.
It goes well, and we don't have any mishaps.
It went so good if you're listening to this on Monday.
Yeah. And if you're in the Twitch chat and you are in the Chicago area and could have come to that show, you can just come to the Milwaukee one the day after.
There you go.
It's not that far. Gene made the drive today. He lives in Chicago.
Oh,
I live in the Chicago burbs.
Oh.
We make the drive all the time. Just come to the show at the X-Ray
we're playing at
Arcade.
the X-Ray Arcade the day after.
Saturday.
All right. Well, if you're there, then you can go.
And then we do have plans in the works for a lot of shows. Like, expect a lot of touring in 2022. Hopefully, when all of this shit, we kind of touring doesn't seem to be happening for most bands this year. We are going to Fest, and we do have some like one-off shows around the Midwest with some cool bands that haven't been announced yet, as far as I know. So we'll hold off. But just pay attention to our Bandcamp; it'll all be on there. And then, if you want to see us in your town, or better yet, if you can organize a show, if you book shows or if you're in a band and you want to play or whatever, we're kind of looking. We were thinking about maybe going west in early 2022, but we're open to options. I would say like springtime.
Yeah. Yep. Hit us up.
Or somebody has like a cool like basement for a show.
Yeah, just throw them in there.
Yeah.
We love basements.
I mean, yeah, that's what I assume our tour is going to be.
Basement tour.
We play living rooms, we play basements. That's our bread and butter. We'll show up. I love house shows because I can brush my teeth.
True.
Oh, there you go.
And explore I like seeing where people live. It's just so fascinating.
I would say, let's say most house shows, because sometimes it's not so
you don't
good.
want to see.
I would say most of the time. But I mean, even if the show is good, sometimes the house can be fucking like sickening. But I would say 90% of them have been really great.
We played some good shows in some decrepit old manors.
Yeah, where the shows themselves are awesome, but the house is like, how is anyone living?
Oh yeah, Witches Coven.
Kind of like condemned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was about to say, are you sure you're not just breaking in, quote unquote, into these houses to be like, show and see
some of them I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't really know.
We deny all culpability in a court of law. If that was the case, you invited us to play. We didn't just show up. So
these are not just our instruments here.
Yeah.
It's like people say the whole city is the best bar band, but we are the best basement band. So
Yeah.
let us in your home and we will play music for you.
Oh my god.
So we'll leave that as the plugs for the shows, but I do hope that there are a lot more opportunities out there. I don't know where shows are going to go right now, and I'm very nervous for a lot of tickets that we are holding for October, November, all that. But we'll see. I'm curious how you feel about it, but it's just like, I guess I'm like not as nervous as a lot of people are about shows right now, but I am like, I want to go to shows and I feel like safe enough, but I know it's not like maybe the best thing to do. I don't know really where I stand on it.
I don't think there is a right answer.
Yeah.
It is weird. It's like a muddy little middle ground. And I think we feel the same way. Like we want to play. And bottom line, if the dipshits who won't get vaccinated would just fucking get vaccinated, it would be way better than it is now.
Well, I mean, I think that the venue is starting to require proof of vaccination.
By all means. And fucking, we both of our indoor show that we played a couple weeks ago with Rat Boys in Milwaukee, everybody was masked and it was totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously the bands weren't masked, and there were definitely a couple like stragglers in the audience who, I don't know why they weren't wearing masks, but they weren't wearing masks. But like, it's not that bad. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Require vaccination and mask up.
Yeah.
All good.
Pretty easy.
And everything will probably be fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and also just don't go to a show if you're unvaccinated. Like, just fucking do it.
Fest is requiring it, and I'm
which
really
is great. Yeah.
happy.
Oh, that's great.
positive development. But I mean, I knew that they would. Like Fest is always like on the up and up with like all the correct, good decisions that are like well informed.
The other beautiful thing about that is that it self-selects and like takes out the major assholes out of the equation. If you require proof of vaccination, the people that don't have it, who I'm not gonna say all of them, but most of them are assholes. Like they they can't come to the show.
Yeah.
So it's like removing them from the environment. You don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
That.
So the guy that yelled, when the guy that yelled some sort of pro-Trump chant at our show pre-pandemic, like a couple months before the pandemic, he probably can't come to the show anymore.
Good. It's great.
There's a TikTok sound that's trending, and it's like for people who are like, oh, I don't have my vaccine because like I don't believe in it, and it's like, how you trying to yell at me in the club when you can't even get in?
Wow.
It's like crazy.
I don't like that. I don't like that they're dissing me.
There's like, I just was working with this girl at my job, and she was talking about, she was like, I have never been vaccinated for anything. I was like,
what?
Yes, you were. You were fucking born. When you were born, you were vaccinated. Did you die from polio? No.
Did you die from polio?
It's like insane. Like, she was like, oh, wait. Maybe I did. But like after that, it's like, fuck, god damn it. It was like really just like, you could tell just even saying that made her like think differently. I wasn't even an asshole. I was like, you have been vaccinated for sure against diseases, not necessarily COVID, but like you are vaccinated against like fucking measles and shit. Mm-hmm. Like everybody does at birth almost. Like now, I mean, at least back when she was born. Now, of course, people are like, I'm not going to vaccinate my kid. But that's fucking another conversation.
Yeah. Well, before we get into all of that possibility, let's go ahead. Yeah, I don't want to get into that, but I do want to say for people who want to go to shows, go get vaccinated, fucking asshole.
Yeah, wear a mask. I wore a mask almost the entirety of saying All Time Low at Bottom Lounge and moshing. And even though I yeeted my inhaler by accident, so I really don't. I don't see an excuse for anything.
That must have been fun. I didn't know they played at the Bottom Lounge. It's like a pretty small.
I was just gonna say that feels like a small spot for.
Yeah, it was for their Lala after show.
Mm-hmm.
All the Lala.
Did they play deep cuts? Wow. Did they play deep cuts?
No, they didn't. They pretty much played the same like set that they played 6 Feet Under the Stars, but I've heard them play that at other shows.
They probably have a kind of old, reliable kind of set list of just like, but I mean, you can't blame them. They got it down to science.
Yeah.
Everything I've ever heard from that band is good. I just have never listened to them.
They got some real good hits, man. They got some hits.
Their most recent album is actually like a really straight banger, and it really reminds me of like Nothing Personal days. So it's like, it's really good. I always recommend people, if they're not
a band that like
listen to their new stuff like that.
Even their worst albums have good songs on them. Like you can't like, they have like even the shit like where it's not necessarily their best work. There's always a couple of like really well written pop jams on there. Can't deny it.
Well, boys, we need to listen.
Yeah, I mean, these guys don't know anything. I don't know.
We don't know anything. Yeah, we got nothing going on upstairs. I used to be in a band called, Vinyl Over Wine. And it was definitely in the kind of Warped Tour core scene style.
Like kind of swoopy hair, pop punk type thing.
And the singer in that band was like super obsessed with All Time Low. And it just made me like turned off from them. So I need to, revisit.
We all have
to give them another
shot.
You signed for him.
He was the same way about Green Day for a long time, and now he likes Green Day.
Finally,
someone who won't be named locked me in a bathroom and forced me to listen to Bullet in a Bible for hours.
Oh my god!
The live Green Day record.
That sounds
he didn't lock you in a fucking bathroom.
Okay, he didn't lock me in a bathroom.
Jesus.
I was in the shower and he kept turning it on.
Yeah,
okay, that is a strong difference.
Much different. That's a lot different.
But in my mind, I was locked in the bathroom.
Yeah, like where am I gonna go?
You weren't Harry Potter with.
Under the stairs.
listened to exclusively hair metal for 10 years. So.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's the Vince Neil
I
mugshot.
was like, I'm pretty sure that's Vince Neil. I'd recognize that goatee pretty much anywhere.
That's custom made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was also a birthday gift. So
I do like that. That
and
is.
The Santa and that were both birthday gifts.
Wow. I can tell that this entire band is excellent gift givers.
Yeah.
We have every year we do a Secret Santa. It's Secret Santa. And it's always very fun because we know each other so well. We know exactly what to like. I think on a dime, we could each buy each other like the perfect gift at any given point.
Yeah. Even today, I went to buy myself to the mall, and I was seeing a lot of things at the collectible store that Gene would have been extremely excited about.
Lots of Star Wars Episode 1 paraphernalia. And,
I get that. I get. That I'm on. Before we wrap it up, I think we'll talk a little bit more over on Twitch, but we also have some questions. One question from Instagram, if I'm right, Lizzie.
I believe so.
Okay,
maybe.
so I think we have one question. We'll answer that over on Twitch. But before we get to that, I want to make sure we can throw out all your plugs. Let everybody know where they can find you on the internet, where they can listen to the record, which all that good stuff. And where can people find you and find more info?
Just go on any of your social platforms and type in Telethon Band. That's our handle on all of them. I think, Telethon Band and Telethon Band at Gmail if you want to talk to us. It's just me and us that handle all of our DMs. I think our DMs are all open if you want to, talk to us or whatever.
Are open.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody wants to like help us book shows in random places or whatever, we're always open. I mean, I don't know if we would always be able to do it, but we love to talk to people. Like it makes my day to hear from people who even just like the record. I always end up excitedly forwarding screenshots of messages to people about or to our band group chat about nice things that people have said, and we all read them, and we're like, that's so cool. Just talk to us. And telethonband.bandcamp. Just search Telethon on Spotify. The record is now up on Apple Music. It wasn't at first for some reason.
Tim Cook. Swear to God.
It was Tim.
Yep.
I used to work at an Apple store, and because I quit.
I did it too, and they this podcast does not get much high praise over on the Apple side.
You think Tim's throttling your listeners?
I will say this.
Those 2-star ratings are from Tim, I swear.
Yeah, I bet it is. I will also say I lived in Sweden, so I'm pretty sure Spotify is on our team. So,
Hey, cool.
Tim's
so
revenge.
Tim's revenge.
Tim's revenge.
I
call you Tim?
Mr. Cook.
I'm on a first name basis.
Oh,
Mr.
I have two of his products.
Before we do the Twitch thing, I super have to pee.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. We will. We'll wrap up the recording here. Thank you all for joining us on the pod, and obviously we're big fans of yours. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. Telethon is the band.
Yeah, thank you.
Go listen to all of their stuff. Get on it.